What's up, this is Kid Koala. You're watching Exclaim TV. When I started, I was, obviously introduced to it through Scratch. So a lot of the stuff that was happening in the late 80s, those producers, all that stuff was a huge inspiration to hear how they were manipulating the sound. I could tell from the feel that it wasn't like a computer, that it's just, triggering things. It had a swing to it, a groove. It had this sort of live element to it that I really liked. It's just it's a feel, from a performance aspect, it's a feel. It's off grid. It's spontaneous, not random necessarily, but spontaneous, and there's a feel. You can swing, you can play behind the beat, you can play ahead of the beat. What's most compelling about Scratch is that live aspects of it.
Get down to it. Keep on keeping on when you dig it. Keep on keeping on when you dig it. Keep on keeping on. Right on.
It's kind of a hybrid show in terms of there's little mini sets that I do kind of my standard 3 turntable style mixing, and I just kind of do some routines or some of my older tunes off earlier albums or whatever. And then meanwhile, all this action is unfolding on the stage via puppets or dancing or lighting or whatever we have at our disposal to do it. It's just old school entertainment, Like when I saw Adira and the Girls in New York and I saw their act, I was like, these are true entertainers on every level. They just commit whatever it is, if it's a character that they're playing or something that they have to do. The choreography is beautiful. The stage, like the blocking, the narrative sort of behind it, it was just so executed to such a high level. I was like, I really want to work with these girls to see if we can do something together. It's amazing. And on the tour bus every night, like I said, we're laughing our asses off. It's like running notes for the show. What worked? What didn't work? How's can we, what can we add? What can we take out? How can we, make this lift or make that have more impact? And always like tweaking the show. So it's a constant evolution on a tour, and so much. I've been on so many tours where it's like you just kind of do the same thing. You just kind of fall into autopilot mode, and it's weird. You know what I mean? And this is not the case with Vaudeville. Always trying to raise the stakes on what's happening. Yeah, I mean, for me, the idea of it was, it's vaudeville, in essence. I didn't necessarily want it to be some very high-tech show. I didn't want there to be that kind of mystery around it as to how it was done, or when it was done. It's that all animated beforehand, and we're just, who did he draw that? What, you know what I mean? I want all of it to happen on stage. I like that urgency. It's a bit of a tightrope we're walking up there because there's so many things that can fall apart on stage and kind of mess it up. But it has that, without that safety net, it feels more exciting for me as a performer to do it. I just picked this old school forms of entertainment, dancing girls and puppets. People have been watching that for centuries for entertainment. The idea was whether you can bring that into a turntable show and bring it into a club and see if it works, and it does. As far as my lifetime is concerned, they built those 1200s pretty well. They've lasted close to 30 years, and the motors are still good on them and everything. So. I think we're okay for at least my generation. It'll be okay. No matter what the equipment is, I think the attitude is always you have to learn how to master it. You have to learn how to not let it do all the work for you. You have to learn how to kind of speak through it. You know what I mean? And that is the point that. No matter what happens in terms of technology, as the equipment gets smarter and faster and tries to make your life easier, you'll have this part of the kids that are into the craft be like, what can we practice now that is not designed into, essentially what's next, how can we, and it's that kind of give and take. And I think with turntables, it's kind of the same thing. The guys that I know who started when I started, or before I started, they still have that kind of hunger to just trying to see what's next. How can we get deeper with this, and even I see it in some of the kids that are starting now too. They have that same spark, There's like, they see there's infinite possibilities here. This can infinitely be surprising for the rest of the time. You know what I mean? It's a chameleon of an instrument to begin with, but multiply that by what you can do with the actual mixer, turntable, and scratch. It's like any sound. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And
Sure.
you can see that. Yeah, I see it in some of the young DJs that come to the shows, and I'm like, whoa, this is the next generation, and I appreciate that. I like being part of that sort of history of it.